The splendors of yoga. In the Bhagavad Gita also, the 10th chapter called Vibhuti Yoga describes it. And what we call Pratyahara, that is absorbing the senses and the mind in ourselves, which we have described as the 5th step of practice, that creates the projection of the double. While projecting, we will project astral matter. There is no astral body to ourselves. We will project the astral matter of the planetary astral matter of this earth, because there is nothing bad in the astral plane of this earth. The astral plane is different from the astral body, and even some standard authors have committed mistakes in confusing the astral body with the astral matter of this earth. The mistakes are corrected, rectified, and clearly explained in the books of Alice A. Bailey. The eightfold yoga path student will work with the astral plane of this earth, and he does not have any astral body at all. That is what happens when he projects his double. This is possible in the 5th step, Pratyahara. Patanjali himself answered to this question. He says, Tivra Sanyogad Arambhaha. That means the more devoted your attempt is, the shorter will be the period. That is, when all other activities become part of our yoga practice, it will be very short. But if yoga practice forms one of the items of our daily routine, then it may take births and rebirths. Generally, an average time is 7 years. When we take up yoga as the ideal of our life realization and make our vocational and domestic activities part of yoga practice, then the average time is 7 years according to the scriptures. No, for anyone, because yoga practice is not for the body but for the consciousness. The difference between the Orientals and the Occidentals exists only on the psychological unit, whereas the yoga practice is not an experiment conducted on the psychological unit. It is a practice which is to be conducted upon ourselves directly. We are always higher than our psychological unit, and the difference between Orient and Occident doesn't exist to ourselves. It exists to the psychological unit. It is true that the psychological unit of an Occident is more strong than the psychological unit of the Orient. The result is it is more individualistic and more personal in its strength. The advantage of it is to pursue a thing against any disturbance. The disadvantage of the Occidental psychological unit is it offers great resistance to the change that should take place, because the personality never submits to something which is not understood. Unless you understand, you will never accept to submit yourself. But you are something beyond your own understanding. Therefore, you can't understand yourself before you submit. This vicious circle takes a longer time. When once the awakening begins to take place, it is the awakening of yourself and not the psychological unit. It's that time the difference between the Oriental and the Occidental doesn't exist. Because the fact that we are born either in the Orient or Occident is intended by nature. It's not an accident. And always nature intends only in a positive way. It is only according to our states of evolution and according to the needs of our future evolution that we are placed in a particular nation or a country. Up to the 4th stage, a master is definitely necessary. Until we attain the happiness of pranayama, a master is necessary. Even afterwards, a master is necessary in some other sense. From within ourselves, we will be receiving our own instructions from the fourth step onwards. But since a verification is necessary for our own confidence, our master is still necessary even after the fourth step. During the first four steps, he will instruct us because we do not know. But afterwards, he will give his verification to what we receive from within. And our verification is the only guide which gives us information that we are going on the right lines. For that purpose, the master is necessary up to the stage of the samadhi. During the first four steps, master is absolutely necessary. During the last four steps, he is necessary for a verification. When a person is dreaming a horrible dream nightmare that a murderer is trying to kill him, that a murderer is running behind his back and he is trying to escape running and running. You will suppose that a person is dreaming like this. You will know at every step the person fears. But the fear is only conditioned to a dream. But it is as true as anything to the one who is dreaming. What is the influence of his awakening from sleep upon his dream? The whole dream disappears. So the whole of his karma will be made a null and void and a zero. Because he will be awakened into his real living. And all the layers of self-conditioning will disappear immediately. And the karma results are only self-conditioning. And there will be no karma to him at all. But yet there is one thing. When you are a boy is throwing stones on the electric lights. When you go and catch his hand, stones will be stopped. But the stone that is already thrown cannot be stopped. Similarly, the results of his past karma upon his physical body, all the other results can be neutralized. This is because his physical body is not a body at all, but it is only a resultant of many thousands of forces at work. Just as a soap bubble is not an independent item, it is only a resultant of soap, water and air, though it appears as an independent item. Similarly, our physical body is also a resultant of an equilibrium of thousands of forces at work. A disturbance is created. It is bound to reflect upon the physical body. Therefore, except the physical results upon the physical body, everything becomes null and void as a dream about the past karma. It is only very late that wisdom dawns. 1972 till 1981, lectures are being arranged and I am invited, and the subjects for lecturing are decided. And I am just responding to the subjects already decided. And this year, wisdom dawned rather late. Suppose that in my next visit next year, instead of giving a lecture on each subject someday, I am thinking of taking up regular classes of Patanjali Yoga with the required practical instructions and at a place decided previously, so that people who are really interested do not travel daily with their instruments from Liège to Brussels and from Brussels to Antwerp. So we select a place which is convenient and equidistant to all and hold classes for 2 weeks or 3 weeks next year. And you will know it at least 6 months in advance. For this time, excuse me, because wisdom dawned late on my mind. A master is nothing more than one who has attained mastery over himself. Therefore, samadhi means mastery over himself. And the word master does not mean anything very much miraculous and mysterious. It indicates only mastery.
Et les deux maîtres, ça veut dire la même chose.
Thank you all. Should not be sometimes ignored. That all depends upon the necessity of his mind. And the general healing invocation should be made daily. In fact, the general invocation is enough to heal all, but it is the lack of confidence in people that makes the delay. You mean congenital? A deformity can never be healed, but what best can be done. And when a surgical operation is required, when it becomes inevitable, it should also be conducted, and then healing should complete the process. And there are still some cases where the defect is either congenital or irreparably damaged. In such cases, damage can never be restored, but health and hope and magnetism can be restored. Deformities generally cannot be totally restored. Homeopathy is suited for any constitution, but we cannot claim that homeopathy can cure every disease, but it is a fact that homeopathy is suitable for anyone in this world, and there is no one to whom homeopathy is not suitable. No, according to the science of healing and according to homeopathy and according to every system except allopathy, it is the evil force that is called disease, and all the other parts of the disease are called the manifestations of disease. And homeopathy is discovered only to dispel that evil force which is called the real cause of the disease. And similarly in healing also, the evil force is understood as disease and not its manifestation. In a magnet where there is a mixture of some other non-magnetic, the defect is the existence of the impurity, and the result is the lines of force on the magnet becoming ugly. The thing to be cured is not the ugliness of the lines of force, but the impurity of the metal. When the impurity is removed and when the magnetism is restored, then the lines of force are orderly once again. Similarly, in all of us also, disease is an evil force which exists in the form of impurity of thought. And when a true healing takes place, either by homeopathy or spiritual healing, the disposition of mind is rectified, and then all the physical evils are rectified. So it is the evil spirit that is first rectified, without which there is no real cure. The medicine in a homeopathic dose is not material, but the pill we use is material, and the medicine exists only on the vital plane, and it works only on the nerve of the tongue, and no matter goes into the stomach. And the stimulation of the tongue nerve gives the required vibration to the cerebrospinal nervous system, and then the cure starts. That is how in homeopathy cure is expected to take place. Just as man is a spirit, and to convey him there is a physical body, similarly medicine in homeopathy is the dynamic dilution, is a dynamism to carry that the pill is used only as a physical body. It is only sugar pill upon which a spirit solution is poured, and the spirit solution contains the dilution of medicine where no medicine substance exists at all except the quality of the medicine. So there is nothing physical in homeopathy except in the vehicle of medicine. According to the convenience of the constitution and according to the routine and the work one does, you can choose your own time either in the morning or in the evening, not much difference. But what helps us most is to keep up the same time uniform. That is the only most important thing. Some people to whom it is not possible in the morning due to their professional activity or something, they can choose the evening hours. And for those who have the evening hours not convenient, they can choose the morning hour. But the regularity of the same time is the one thing which counts. Because the intelligences and the forces of nature will be ready to help us when we are regular. Just as when you fix up a previous appointment and then make people know of it, then they can come easily there before the time, make themselves available by the time. So also the various intelligences and forces of nature should find their place and time to help us. It becomes possible when we maintain a place and a time. Even with the vital functions, it is true. The digestion works very well when we have definite times to eat. For those who have no time to eat or who go on frequently eating, the forces of nature working in the body cannot find the time when they can be ready, and hence digestive irregularities occur. So on all planes, the intelligences and forces of nature find a convenience when you maintain a time. It is because the dimensions of length and breadth exist in our mind, not around us, and the uniformity and proportion of the concepts length and breadth find their comfort in having such a proportions in the hall, and by sitting in the hall lengthwise, you try to experiment and find out the difference for yourself. When you sit down like this lengthwise in the hall and meditate, and for 1 month you do like that, again for another month you sit down there and face that side and begin meditation, you will clearly find the difference in the progress. When you sit facing lengthwise, the progress is very rapid and uniform. Even in a lecture hall you can find that difference. When you face the audience lengthwise, the communication on the mental and the psychological planes will be most comfortable. And if you sit breadthwise and ask the audience sit like this and face them breadthwise, the communication is most inconvenient. It is like the relationship between the poles of two magnets. I will give you another example also. We can ask all these people to face that wall and sit down, and we can stand behind their back and give lecture for 1 hour. Is it audible or not? But is it psychological? Can they receive with the same comfort as when they are facing us? What makes the difference? It is the comfort of communication. Similarly, a hall which is lengthwise gives the greatest comfort for communication. Not only the churches and mosques, but all the temples of all major religions are oriented towards the east. The word orient means towards the east, because it is a great tradition that gives us that word orient. That's why we automatically use that word, because of our relationship with the rotation of the earth and apparent rise and set of the sun. When an insulated wire is coiled around an armature, and when electric current is passed through that insulated wire, the armature behaves as a magnet. And suppose we do not make it a coil, we use the wire as a lump and use the armature. Then the armature does not behave like a magnet. What makes the difference? It is the arrangement of the wire. Similarly, the apparent path of the sun around this earth makes its coil around this earth a big line of force to all the beings living on this earth. And in accordance with that line of force, it is better for us to face the east. People who could understand this arranged that every temple should face the east. Yes, if you go into the scriptural traditions of the ancient nations, for example, ancient India and ancient Egypt and ancient Hebrew tradition, you will find the directions for sleep also. It is said that one can sleep very healthily and comfortably with the head towards the south, and most unhealthily and uncomfortably with the head towards the north. And towards the east or west, it means nothing. That is neither advantage nor disadvantage. And basing on this, there are allegories which convey great truths in the scriptures. For example, in the Indian scriptures, it is said that God cut the head of one of his children, and the mother force of nature, the wife of God, grieved after it, felt sorry of it, and wanted that the son should be made alive once again. Then the Lord ordered that whoever is sleeping with his head towards the north may be marked and his head cut and brought, and we will attach that head to this neck, to the neck of this boy. Then the angels of God went on all directions on this earth and could not find anyone sleeping with head towards the north. At last they could find an elephant sleeping like that. They cut the head of the elephant and brought it. And God had attached that head to the neck of this boy, and it is whom we call Ganesha, the elephant god, with the body of a human being and the head of an elephant. Of course, this story is only an allegory of some truths concealed in it, just as all the allegories of all the scriptures are there. It includes that fact that it is not desirable for us to sleep with our head towards the north. And it is positively said that it is very good to sleep with the head towards the south. It is described that our vertebral column is compared with a magnet, and the axis of our earth is already a magnet. And if you place one magnet upon another with like poles, they repel. If you place them one upon the other with unlike poles, they will not only attract one another, but also work as one magnet. Similarly, our vertebral column is in tune with the axis of our earth. When we lie on the earth horizontally with our head towards the south, and this much is described in all the scriptures. Homeopathy, a suppressed skin disease to the person or the parent or the grandparent, or suppressed gonorrhea to the person or the parent or the grandparent, gives an appreciation of homosexual element. That is how in homeopathy it is defined. No, that is the duty of the medical science. A fact stated in the scriptures it is the purpose of it is the duty of the medical science to find its validity. For example, we see in the scriptures that the whole creation is made in 7 days. It takes not less than 7,000 years for the science to prove it. Similarly, it is the duty of the science to prove it and find out the validity. In the world scriptures, an experience of thousands of years and an experiments of thousands of years will be given in a statement, and the scriptures go on in the form of statements. And the people of any century should find the corroboration experimenting with their own experience. Yes, there are certain undesirable elements which should be eliminated and certain desirable things which can be gathered around a house or in a house. An extensive study, and we have to study it in the form of some literature. For example, sandalwood is one of the things that gives great healing, and camphor is a thing which gives great healing, and certain types of wood causes sickness continuously when people live in it. And when we go into the basic ancient books of all the nations, we find these records given. As far as ancient Indian books are concerned, I can supply you some information. We generally observe in the construction of our houses some things, and those things I can supply to you. The information I can supply to you. Time is not at all sufficient. See, Book of Solomon in the Old Testament should be taken and studied by some people for years together. If you can sit with me for 1 or 2 hours, I can give you hints how to study it. Then you can do it for yourself. But in either one lecture or one question and answer, it is not at all possible. But in continuation with this, those things which are not covered today, I will try to cover. Otherwise, if I happen to repeat the same thing, it is very convenient. You can play the tape recorder itself. So we will cover the remaining points which are not mentioned today. Yes, I practice my master's path, eightfold path of Raja Yoga. Patanjali's and Bhagavad Gita's path. Not exactly, but each of the masters covers a portion of the field which is not covered by the others. For example, Master CVV has given the methods to go into the consciousness of the various planets by any student and experience and gather the information by himself. Any student who follows Master CVV's path can travel through all the planes of the planets and gather information and take down notes by himself. And anyone doing the same independently gets the same information in the same way with the same experience. That part of the work is covered by Master CVV, whereas the teaching of the wisdom to the 20th century man is covered by Master Juhalpur. So the same work is done by each master in a different field of action. Yes, definitely there is supplementary aspect also. The one which is not covered by one master is clearly covered by the other master. As far as I know, there are not. And there cannot be incompatibilities between two masters. Because I am teaching Jwalpul's teachings and CVV's teachings for the past 20 years. I have trained many batches in India, and till today I didn't find any incompatibility anywhere. And I think it's not possible also.